could say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
A million dreams are keeping me
A million dreams, a million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
for the world we're gonna make.
I'll be looking back on this and I'll say, I'm so happy that you said you would stay. There were times I know that I was crazy, fraying at the edges and you saved me. I'm losing count of chances that you gave me. You're laughing at me dancing really badly, and telling me the reasons why you'd gladly do it all again. Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Well, hey, words can never adequately convey everything you're giving to me today. But holding you is better than a holiday, and leaving you I dread it like exam day. So at the risk of sounding kinda risque, everything to now has been the foreplay. Darling, I would follow you to Norway, or anywhere you want it. Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, when we're getting wrinkly and our hair's grey, a rusty old banger in the driveway, one of us will maybe wear a toupee, but I will be in love with you.
Hey, 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 let's go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Transformational Speaking Academy. Who is in the house? I want to know, if you're tuning in, where are you coming from? Because one of the most important things about an event like this is not just the incredible speakers that I have hidden in the back here with me. These speakers have spent the last 8 weeks refining, intuitive, getting into their bodies, their speaking skills, ready to transform every single one of you today's watching lives. And they are ready, and they are so excited, let me tell you. The environment backstage is crazy. It's like a party back here because everybody is so excited to share with you. So I want to know from you, though, because as the audience, you have a huge part to play. This isn't just about presenting out. It's also about feeding in. So I want to know who's on the call right now, who's watching, who's ready, who's anticipating what is coming next. I'm just looking here. We have got Texas. I got Washington, D.C., Pasadena, California. This is a truly global stage. And if you're watching, I want you to think about what your outcome is for today, because we love that you showed up today to support us, to experience the transformation that these guys have been working on. And let me tell you, you are in for a treat. But to get that, you guys need to be engaged. So I want you to realize that just watching these performances today is going to give you maybe 5 or 10% memory of what is being talked about today. If you're just listening and you're just sat back and you're not really engaged, then you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. And let me tell you, there is some incredible surprises backstage ready for you. But if you really want to engage, if you really want to transform your life with the power of these speakers today, then you got to work for it, my friends. What do I mean by that? You see, when we engage, when we make notes like crazy, when we take insights, and when we encourage in the chat, what do you notice? What do you see that is incredible that these speakers today are sharing with you? What is something that, whether you're a speaker or not, you could add into your communication toolkit that would allow you to have even more impact, even more fun, and an easier way to influence and communicate with people? So drop a 1 in the chat if you are ready to engage and playful out as an audience so that you get the transformation that you deserve for being here today. Drop a 1 in the chat if that's you. If you're willing to playful out, if you're willing to support these incredible speakers today in their journey. And if you are a speaker, I highly encourage you to notice at a different level. What do you see that you think, wow, that was cool? Maybe it was something they did to engage. Maybe it was a really great transition. Maybe it was a powerful story told in a way that made you feel something differently. What can you learn from these powerful speakers today? And what can you share with them that made a difference for you? Because after this event and during the event, they're going to be looking at the chat and they're going to be wondering what a difference they're making. And I want all of you to be ready to shower them appreciation and specific return and feedback so that they can see what a difference they're making. And when you put it in the chat, you're going to remember it. So your next presentation can be even more transformational. So I see some 1s in the chat. If we're all ready, we have 7, count them, 7 speakers today that are going to rock your world and change your life. And maybe even by their sharing with you today, you might share with somebody else who really needs to hear one of the messages that these guys are sharing. So we are ready. So I'm going to get started and I'm going to introduce to the stage an incredible man who has been through what many men struggle with through life, some of the ups and downs of life, the turmoils. And he's recognized that it isn't what happens in life, it's how you respond to it and the meaning that you attach to it and what you decide to do differently. So Sean is a life coach who focuses on helping middle-aged men who have been there, seen it, done it, got the scars, and they don't want to get the scars anymore. They want to celebrate life. They want to lean into the challenges so that they can grow from it. And Sean's mission and vision is simple. It is to guide others from knowing who they are to actually living who they are every single day. And he's going to share today the formula that helped him to transform. And he's in servitude now, wanting every man to live a life that he's experiencing joy at the highest level. So let me introduce you to the incredible Sean Bradbury. Welcome, Sean. Take it away, brother. The stage is yours.
Imagine for a moment there's actually a formula, not for pretending and not for performing, but for being real. What if I told you I discovered a simple equation to live authentically? And before I share that, I want to know what does authenticity mean to you? So please, let's take a moment and drop that into the chat. All right, we got some good shares coming in here. Being real, freedom, transparency, being present. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Chat's still lighting up. I'm here today as my authentic self, but that wasn't always the case. I was a lifelong people pleaser, and this is what that meant. I looked outside myself for all the answers. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I hated disappointing people, and I had a fear of being left behind. I think on the outside, I appeared very easygoing, but on the inside, I was abandoning who I was because I didn't want to upset anybody. I didn't want to disrupt the peace. So here's what I learned. People pleasing and authenticity, they do not coexist. You can't come from an honest place and be everything to everyone. And that led me to the equation I'm going to share with you today. Awareness, alignment, and action. The 3 A's to living authentically. And let me show you how that showed up in my life. Now I have to ask first, does anyone else avoid going through the mail at their home? If so, put a yes in the chat. Okay, so I'm not alone. There we go, I love it. Every day I come home, first thing I'm greeted by is a pile of mail on the counter. And because I avoid it, it keeps growing and growing and growing. Now what I'm really avoiding is what's actually in the mail. Bills, insurance, doctor statements that are there that I just don't want to deal with. But what if there was something else in there that I was actually looking forward to? Like concert tickets from Michael Franti that I purchased for me and my daughter. But yet I still avoided the pile. And then one morning I looked at that pile and I realized it wasn't the only thing I had been avoiding. There were boundaries I never set, truths I never opened, and values I never acknowledged. In that moment, I called it the hard stop, when I knew that things just things couldn't keep going the way that they were. So here's the thing, when you tell yourself the truth, it's tough, it's uncomfortable, but you need that honesty to move forward. And that's where you have to figure out what is aligned with that. One of my favorite things to do in the fall is to go apple picking with my daughter. Being a single dad, a single parent, I relish the time with my daughter. When we go to the apple orchard, something I realized is a lot of people pick from the middle and the lower parts of the tree. And why is that? Because it's very easy, it's very convenient. There's no effort involved. Maybe I thought about, well, what about like the surface level conversations we all settle for? It's kind of on the same line, right? Easy, arm's length, just reach it. And there's also the lower hanging fruit too. I also refer to, I look at that as also like gossip and complaining. But then there's the higher fruit, the fruit that takes more effort. And I learned this from my daughter. When I reflect upon it, taking her years ago when she was small, I put her up on my shoulders and she would reach for the apple. She'd reach and stretch and get the biggest, highest apple she could get, and she would pull it down and hand it to me. Reflecting upon that showed me that I had been just picking the fruit in front of me. I had not been reaching for the higher fruit. I needed more meaningful conversations. I needed more environments that really challenged me. I needed another orchard. So this is the alignment when life matches your true values. Now, here's the thing. Change doesn't happen overnight. I think we can all agree to that, right? And it was status quo for quite a while. So there was gossip and complaining at work still, a little drama at home. And trust me, at the time, it wasn't easy being the only guy in a house with 5 other women. I was kind of stuck between 2 worlds that didn't really feed me. And one day I came home for after work, and I was thinking about it. I sat down and I asked the universe for a little guidance and a little help. Within 24 hours, I received a call. I received a text, actually. I received a text, and the text read, "I'm starting a coaching circle. Would you like to join?" I immediately text back, "Yes, I am in." I had no idea what a coaching circle even was, what it entailed, but I felt like someone had thrown me a lifeline. So there was 4 of us, and we showed up at a local cafe every few weeks. And we shared stories, and we learned about each other. And for the first time in a long time, I had felt seen, heard, and understood. I had felt authentic. I had found my orchard. Well, like all good things, they don't last. The coaching circle came to an end, but I knew I had to keep moving forward because I was given something. I was given a sample of something that I really wanted. So I ended up joining the Mastermind Business Academy. So fast forward a year. I pull up in front of the Mastermind headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona. And when the car pulled into the parking lot, all the doubts kicked in. Was I good enough? Did I belong? I felt completely out of my element. Let's be real. This is Tony Robbins in Dean Graziosi, right? And as I looked out at the students waiting to get in, they were all dressed to the nines, looking sharp. I kind of actually just glanced down at myself in very simple, casual business attire and had to laugh at myself. I get out of the car after taking a deep breath, walked over and started introducing myself. And during that conversation, everything settled down. As we walked into the facility, I was greeted by coaches I had talked to for months, mainly on Zoom calls, of course. But now here they are in person. And instead of handshakes, I received hugs. Real community, real acknowledgement, real connection. And that moment I realized I started from doubting myself to walking into the space of one of the most renowned knowledge industry places in the world as my authentic self, surrounded by my tribe. That's the power of action. So here it is. It's the equation for living authentically: awareness, alignment, and action. 3 simple words that, when implemented, can change everything. Guilt fades away, clarity grows, and confidence becomes natural. And you become authentic. And as a little bit of a bonus, I have a bonus A for you. That's accountability. Because transformation does not take place in isolation. It needs community, it needs support, it needs those meaningful conversations with the people who want to see you win. So if this message resonated with you, I'd be happy to guide you on your journey to becoming your authentic self. I believe they're dropping my contact information in the chat as we speak. Because the men, we don't need more men in this world pretending. We need more men willing to live true.
Wow, wow, wow. Sean, that was outstanding. I can just feel your heart, brother. Such a beautiful story. How did that feel for you?
It felt good. I'll tell you this, coming from a place growing up where I did not want to be seen and I was pretending to be somebody else, to come here to really present in this way. Um, it's very liberating, and I have so much gratitude for everybody on this journey.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, the chat has just been going on fire for you, Sean. So much vulnerability, so much authenticity. You are just a powerhouse of groundedness. And I think that we all really appreciate and feel moved by that. So thank you so much, brother. I can't wait to celebrate with you later on. So what an incredible kickoff we've had for our speaking participants, but it is not stopping there. We've just got this train rolling. And next up, I want to invite to the stage an incredible coach who is a master of health and vitality. I've heard it said, and you might have done as well, that a healthy man has 1,000,000 dreams. An unhealthy man has only one. So if you are somebody who is in your later years and you're starting to experience more time, but also more pain because of maybe the lifestyle that you've lived to get there, then there is another way. And Laverne is somebody who specializes from her years of experience and knowledge in nutrition and health and exercise in helping boomers to regain their bloom and live pain-free without any overwhelm or challenges. So I cannot wait to hear Laverne share her secrets and her transformational way of helping boomers get back in bloom. Please help me welcome to the stage. Wow, this is incredible. I love technology. I see some shyness in the back. Maybe I have a different login. I'm just going to check with my co-host, Laurie. Do we see Laverne? Look at that. It's a special guest appearance from the incredible Laurie Mabelis.
Welcome, everybody. That's the cool part of doing this live. I think Laverne just ran to the bathroom, so would love to introduce the third speaker of today. And then when Laverne is back, she will be here sharing her amazing stuff with you. See this as an amazing open loop.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thank you for the update. And this is great. There's always somebody helping out in the back end because this is such a brilliant and incredible community. And you know what? When things happen, we just celebrate because we love flexibility and flexibility loves us. So instead, I am going to introduce the incredible Nicole, who is a doctor, and she's going to talk about not the typical things you'd expect from a doctor, but she's going to talk about magical metrics because for Nicole, she is a leader in educational measurement and strategic planning. Listen to that. This is an expert who is going to share with us how we can transform our goals and data that we have that is just laying dormant around. And we can utilize this to keep us on track because a lot of people have goals, but how many of those don't reach those goals? And one of the reasons is that we don't measure the right things. We look at the long result, but we're not thinking about what are the stages to get there. So let me introduce you to you with magical metrics. Turn the messy middle into your success story. The incredible Dr. Nicole. Take it away, Nicole. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Did you ever have a goal that started strong but didn't quite make it across the finish line? Maybe it was that New Year's resolution to finally get healthy and you got those new sneakers and maybe a new gym membership and thought, this is the year. And then winter started to winter. And as you were shoveling your car out of the snow, you thought, that was kind of workout enough. I'm good. The truth is making a goal is easy, but keeping it can get pretty hard. In fact, gyms actually count on us to goal drift. 25 to 50% of new members don't make it past the first month. They know the struggle isn't in the start, but it's holding on to that goal. And that actually reminds me of a Seinfeld episode. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. And every time I see this episode, it reminds me of this very point. Jerry's car is stolen and he goes to a car rental counter to pick up his mid-sized vehicle, only to find out that they are out of mid-sized vehicles. He says, they were able to take the reservation, but they couldn't hold the reservation. After a little bit of back and forth and quite a bit of frustration, he goes on to say that, anyone can take a reservation, but it's the hold that's the most important part. It's the same with a goal. When you set it and you commit to it, but you don't quite make it there, it can be frustrating and can feel a little bit wasteful and almost make you feel like not wanting to go through that again. So, how do we go from goal setting to goal reaching and hold through that messy middle when we start to experience goal drift? Thankfully, I've spent my entire career planning, actually strategic planning in educational settings, which basically means that I help schools use data and metrics and numbers to achieve their goals on anything from improving reading scores to increasing graduation rates and even building stronger school cultures. So I've seen when plans stall and how the power of metrics and data can actually regain momentum and help work through that messy middle to get back on track and achieve some amazing results. Now, goal drift can happen to all of us when we're in the messy middle, typically because of one of three things. One, we get distracted when results feel like they're far away. Two, we can start to feel frustrated when we aren't clear what to focus on and we don't really have that clear focus. And three, we don't check progress early or often enough because no one is watching. So, how can you use metrics to set up a system and recover from goal drift when you find yourself in the messy middle? So, what I did was I set up a little bit of an experiment to see what happens when you set that big, uncomfortable goal that seems like it's kind of far away and kind of one that you might want to abandon, which is problem number one. Now, as a professional strategic planner, will I experience goal drift or will I be able to apply those strategies that I use with clients? Recently, I kind of in the start of a new year. This is I kind of happened between that Christmas and New Year timeframe when we're starting to think about setting those goals for the coming year. I wanted to challenge myself, and I need to make a confession. I hate running. I don't like it. I'm not good at it. I don't even like to run late. I'm actually so bad at it that my middle school cross country coach made me the team statistician because the team was tired of waiting for me to finish before they can all go home on the bus. So, what did I do? I signed up for a half marathon. Yep, that's 13.1 miles or about 25 kilometers. Now, the race was 5 months away, which is plenty of time to get distracted. So the first thing I did was to download one of those apps to kind of prepare for the race. And interestingly enough, in the plan, it set up the running program in these milestones. It said first the 5K, then a 10K, and then the half marathon, which as a strategic planner was the same approach that I would take with my clients. And we would set them up as short term outcomes, intermediate term outcomes, and long term outcomes, checkpoint A, B, and C, so to speak. And this is a great way to structure one of those long, kind of uncomfortable and far away goals. Think about it if you're trying to learn a new language. The first steps that you would take would be to, do basic vocabulary and then test that vocabulary out in a restaurant setting and then maybe build up to having a conversation with a native speaker. We like to get those small wins to help us build momentum toward those bigger wins and then eventually onto our goals. Now, some people like to break those goals down into even smaller and smaller and smaller micro goals. But as a Gen Xer, Schoolhouse Rock taught me that three is the magic number. So in strategic planning spaces, we're going to keep it to three: short term, intermediate term, long term, 5K, 10K, half marathon, checkpoint A, B, and C. Having those three really helps us to stay on track and focused and see that the next milestone is within reach. So once you have those three milestones set, the next thing to do and think about is, we can start anticipating goal drift when we don't see what to focus on to get to the next milestone, which is problem number two. Now, with metrics and with data, we are overrun and overwhelmed with data in our day-to-day lives. Think about how much information and data are being collected on your phone. How much is coming through on your watches, even in your cars. I mean, how many notifications have you received just in the time that this talk started? Right? We are overwhelmed with data on a regular basis. So it can be really tempting and easy to say, you know what, I'm just going to stop and take a pause here and say, I'm good. I'm going to just keep doing things the way I've always been doing them. Same with setting one of those big goals. We can think about where we are and where we want to go. How many of us set up all of those metrics and measures along the way at the time we set that goal? Most people don't, and most organizations don't. Typically, we think about that final destination and that end result when we're setting up our goals. And what I've discovered in my decades of strategic planning is that the reason why the messy middle mucks us up is that we need to find the right metrics per milestone. So let me tell you what that looked like for this 5K checkpoint. In that app, there were a whole bunch of things that they wanted me to measure. Resting heart rate, my macros, breathing, steps, and a whole number of things. I mean, there were so many things that they wanted me to collect in there. And did I mention that I don't even like running? So it's highly unlikely that I'm going to capture all of that information and stay true to my goal, let alone make it to that checkpoint. So what we needed to do is I needed to find what is that most important metric to help me get to that 5K checkpoint. Was it counting steps and was it distance? Well, 5K is a 5K. 3.11 miles is not going to change. What was important was time. For the half marathon, they were going to kick you off the course if you didn't finish in a certain amount of time. So time being a most important metric at that 5K checkpoint was critical. So that was my first metric to pay attention to, is trying to reduce the amount of time it was going to take me to finish the 5K. A second metric was water intake. I wanted to stay hydrated, but also reduce my chance of injury and cramping, because this gal is a mathlete, not an athlete. I think we've established that already. So my two metrics, time, water intake. Those are the two most important metrics to get me to that checkpoint. Same approach that we would take with my clients. In schools, there are a lot of data that one can look at in a spreadsheet. Where do you start in trying to improve academic results? Do you try to address all the things that you see in a spreadsheet? If you tried, you're not going to get there. So in one of my clients, they said we need students to be more engaged for them to have better academic results. Well, how are we going to get them more engaged? They needed to improve their social emotional skills. Two metrics to get them to the next milestone. Narrowing that focus helped make the work toward the next checkpoint more manageable and their likelihood of reaching their goal even greater. Unfortunately, I did have one client that did not meet with me until the very end of the year, when they realized that they had not made the progress that they wanted to make. Actually, no one in the institution had been monitoring progress. Nobody had been paying attention to what had been going on. And goal drift is even easier when no one is watching, which is problem number 3. And indeed, that also happened to me in my running experiment. After the 5K race, I experienced pain in my knee that I had never experienced before. And at that point, the amount of pain that I felt made me question the whole endeavor, made me question the whole goal. I thought, you know what? I've done enough. I finished the 5K, that was a win. And, maybe that's good enough. However, you know, thinking about it and reflecting on it, that's often where most goals start to fade out. Um, Not at the start, and it's not always at the finish line, but it's at that quiet middle part, when no one's watching. And that's when accountability can come in and change everything. We don't drift from our goals when someone's holding us accountable to the standards. We're not drifting from our goal when someone is checking in on us. We don't drift from our goal when someone believes in us, and especially on those days when we don't believe in ourselves. And that comes to mind a line from Lady Gaga, actually, when I started to think about it. She often says, there could be 100 people in the room and 99 don't believe in you, but all it takes is that one. And at that point of my journey, I reached out to my accountability partner, who I'll call my metrics mentor. And I told him that I was thinking about quitting on the process and skipping the 10K. He did remind me of the commitment I made and the progress that I made having completed the 5K checkpoint, and encouraged me to stick with it and participate in the 10K and see what happens. So lo and behold, I did get back on track and I went through the 10K race. Surprisingly, finished it 14 minutes under the time that I expected to. So I felt pretty excited and thankful that my mentor believed in me enough to get me through that checkpoint. So who's the one person to believe in you to keep you accountable to those metrics to get you to the next checkpoint when you're feeling frustrated and distracted and find yourself in the messy middle experiencing that goal drift? Now imagine the next time you make a New Year's resolution, build a strategic plan, or have that big uncomfortable goal, but you have a new strategy for success. When you follow this simple system with 3 milestones, 2 metrics per milestone, and 1 metrics mentor to hold you accountable, you'll have all you'll ever need to master the messy middle and reach every goal that you set. And yes, I did finish the half marathon. So are you ready to start your countdown to success today? 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Woo! I'm ready. Let's go. Oh my goodness, Nicole. How did that feel for you?
It felt good. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I love how simple you made it. You know, when you started talking about data, I was like, ugh, oh my God, there's data.
Most people do.
We're drowning in data and starving for wisdom, right? But I love how you applied it to your marathon journey, and like you made it so easy and relatable. So that is just like super brilliant. And I want to go and run a half marathon now. And I am not a seasoned runner like you, but I love the thought of using data and those points to get me through these milestones to avoid the messy middle. Let's give it up again for Dr. Nicole. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, now talking about numbers and data overload, our next speaker is somebody who makes the complex world of financial numbers simple, easy, and fun. Yes, I said fun. Imagine numbers being fun. Well, I didn't believe it until I saw this incredible CPA who is just a master of numbers. And for those of you who have attended any of our previous speaking events, you may well have seen her speak before, because Nilsa is a business owner, a certified public accountant, and a finance strategist. And she makes numbers easy and fun. And she helps entrepreneurs, business owners, global companies, and engineers through every single stage of growth. And she moves them from survival to sustainability to significance, moving them from comfort to conviction to transformation. So I want to welcome to the stage with her new presentation, the fourth quarter, the season of alignment, exactly relevant for us today. Don't you think? Hands up if you think that's something we want to hear about. Let me welcome to the stage the incredible, the one, the only Nilsa. Look at that last minute presentation. So it is on. Are you ready, Nilsa?
Ready. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. The stage is yours, Nilsa.
Okay. Thank you, Luke, for the introduction. Are you all getting ready for the last business cycle of the year, what we call the fourth quarter? I want to see a raise of hands. Of course you are. You're business owners. And who also is getting ready for the holidays? Because we have to have fun in business and also have fun in our personal life. Now, have you ever wondered, why is it that some business owners get to the first quarter of the following year with so much momentum, yet others are overwhelmed and exhausted. Why is that? Well, what if the greatest gift you can give yourself this season, this last quarter of the year, it's not shopping, it's not experiences, it's planning and alignment to have a successful fourth quarter and roll that momentum and success and abundance into the first quarter of 2026. Planning and alignment that will set the tone, not only for your business, for your personal, for yourself, for your family, for your community. Now, planning and alignment. And is it okay that I share a story with you guys? Okay, let's raise of hands if I can share a story. Well, when we talk about alignment, I want to share how I got out of alignment just recently, a couple of weeks ago. It was the end of October. I've just gotten home from Goldman Sachs Summit in Washington. And you all know I live in Puerto Rico, so it's 2 flights to get there and 2 flights to get back. And literally, I'm walking into my home, and the next 2 days, and the following 2 days, my whole family is flying to Boston. Our youngest daughter lives in Boston, and they're all love football. They're Georgia Tech fans. And they advised me, they said, Mom, you need to pack with winter clothes because it's going to be cold. We go out to the game. I'm shivering for 4 hours. It's really not my thing, but I love to cheer on and connect with my family. Now, something magical happened in the fourth quarter. The team is losing by 2 points. The coach called a timeout, and all of a sudden, the players aligned with each other, and they were able to win that game. Now, this is the same thing we must do in our business. My husband comes to me with his big smile and his beautiful blue eyes and says, remember, we have one more trip before the end of the year. We're going to be spending the Thanksgiving holidays in New York with our family and our daughters and their significant others. And my brother was going to come in and his daughter. It's going to be a lot of fun. And he says, what if we stop before we get to New York and watch another football game? And I'm like, no, not happening, not freezing. Let's just plan accordingly. I'll meet you in New York on Sunday. Everybody's going to be flying in on Wednesday. I pulled out my phone because, yes, I am in the AI boot camp of Dean Graciosi, and he is adamantly saying that technology and AI is going to save us minimum 15 hours a week. And I attest to that because I save a lot of time using my phone. I go into the Delta app. I book my flight. Less than 2 minutes. We're set for Sunday. I booked a reservation for dinner. Let's continue enjoying our dinner, our fun, and talking to each other. So what happens on that Sunday when I'm going to the airport? Something felt wrong. Something was off. I booked the wrong flight. I booked it backwards. I booked New York to San Juan, not San Juan to New York. It's the busiest Sunday before Thanksgiving, and there is no way that I'm going to get into New York on Sunday. Right there, I learned the biggest lesson of my life. This was a gift. I needed to go through this experience. Not only am I a marathon runner to get to the airport, I'm always running late, but the following day, my bags were packed. So there was no reason for me to be overwhelmed and start running to the airport. Everything was ready. So right there is like, I'm a CPA. I know that planning is super important. But in our personal life, sometimes we let things slide. So I learned the importance of planning my trips before I'm going to the airport. You would say, oh my God, that's obvious. But, sometimes it's not. And the power of the pause. I was so in the moment to buy the ticket that I didn't take a moment to look at that reservation that I had made. So we all talk about time is the most valuable asset. I want to add to that new balance sheet that we create on our personal level. Time is an important asset. Our energy is an important asset. And pausing is now become the new currency for me. So we get to New York, we have our amazing time as a family, but we are in the fourth quarter. We are 29 days from closing the year. We are in the midst of the holidays. I'm still in New York. Tomorrow they're lighting that tree, and I'm going to be the first one out there to see the tree because I just love the energy, the festivities, the season of giving, the children, the lights, the decorations. I love it. But we have to focus on the fourth quarter. Let's go for the fourth quarter. Every business owner in this audience, and I know that you all are business owners or you're starting your businesses, the year is your report card. Remember in elementary school, you used to get the report card? The end of the year, this whole year is your report card. How did you do in your business? The same way that team pulled together in the fourth quarter and won the game, we must win this game of business in this quarter. This is the moment where we start looking at our numbers and we align and plan for the following year. And how do I do that? Number one, declutter. And please write this down. 27 items a day for 9 days. And you repeat the cycle. I read this many years ago. It was an article on Feng Shui. But I just love the concept, decluttering space, decluttering your mind. And I do this every year, and I do this all the time. When I feel that I'm out of alignment, I get in alignment as soon as I start decluttering the mess that I have around me. Number two, we must plan our personal growth for the following year. Don't leave it to chance. We know where we're at. We know what we did this prior year. We know that technology is taking leaps of advancement. So how do we get on that path? How do we grow our business using technology? Thinking personal growth. Is it a public speaking course? Is it, a writing course? Whatever it is for you, it's fitness, nutrition. And also think about non-negotiables. Something that you're just not you're going to say no to. Like I was not willing to freeze myself for 4 hours as much as I love my family. No, I have other ways of showing them how I love them. I don't want to freeze at a football game when it's getting really cold here in the United States. And number three, they're all my favorite, but this is the one I really love the most, is tax planning. I don't want any of you in this audience to leave tax planning for March or for April. It's too late. You guys have 29 days to decide how you're going to tie up your fourth quarter and how you're going to minimize your tax impact. Pull out your last year's tax return, your personal tax return, and your business tax return. Look at it. Take the time to pause and think about your tax planning. Don't leave it for the last moment. This is the time to call your accountant or CPA because they're happy. They're getting a little distracted with the holidays. They know what's going to happen for them in January. So they're having fun. So this is the perfect time to call your CPA, your accountant, go to his office, bring him a little holiday cheer and talk about how you can minimize your tax impact. Maybe there's an investment you can make or there's an expense you can write off. Think about that. There's a lot of savings when you do that. And you can use some of those fees and that money for your personal growth. So we have personal growth, we have personal growth, we have declutter, we have the fourth quarter, and I would love to remind you all that the travel mistake was actually a gift. It taught me that as much as I love traveling, I love my time, my energy, and my alignment more. So pausing is the new currency, and I look forward to hearing all your successes for 2026. Thank you.
Wow, I love that, Neil. And I love that you finished on pausing is the new currency. I wrote that down. A few people put it in the chat. It's so beautiful. And I love how you use the sports analogy of the fourth quarter, because in business it feels chaotic. And yet, when it's a football game, it's the best part. It's the best part. And we all get excited because, what's the score going to be? you know? So like, I love that frame. It's so beautiful. And everything else was great about it, but I was not expecting number 3 to be tax planning.
That's it. That's the secret to minimizing your tax impact. Is you got to do it now.
You got to do it now. How did that feel for you, Nilsa?
It felt amazing. I love being part of this academy, particularly that every time I go through the process, I learn something new. So I was able to bring a story that just happened to me a few weeks ago and share it with you guys, and apply the framework that Lori has taught us and you have showed us also as well. And more to come, more to learn. I'm not done.
I love it. And every time, Nilsa, it feels like you bring even more energy. Like, you know, I just can tell that tax planning is one of your favorite subjects. Thank you so much, Nilsa. Let's hear it one more time for Nilsa. Beautiful. Okay, wow, what a start we have had, and this train is rolling. So let's move on now. I want to introduce to you a man called Ivo. And this is an incredible story because Ivo started his life in the standard kind of disciplines of electrical engineering and economics, very similar to myself. So I know how tough that is and how regimented it is to be in that space. He then became an international project manager, and he was in corporate leadership. So he went from that corporate panic that I used to call it to purely organic, because he then became an outdoor survival coach and owns a finca in Costa Rica and is an organic farmer. You couldn't imagine two worlds that are more different. But through this, Ivo has an incredible understanding of all aspects of life fulfillment and success. And he coaches in 3 different languages on 3 continents, helping people to unleash their true potential. And seeing their transformation is what fuels him the most. So please help me welcome to the stage the incredible Ivo Knoll. Take it away, Ivo. The stage is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Luke, for this very kind introduction. The interesting thing is I sit across this man who is everything: success, reputation, security. And in the middle of our conversation, I ask him this one question I already know will change his breath. What truth are you pushing away just to keep functioning? And suddenly something shifts. Not everybody reacts the same. Some people close up and protect the status, but some people, you know who you are, something rises, something changes inside you. It's for the early adopters, for the one who feel the friction first, because change isn't when we do something new. Change is when we stop enduring what's become unbearable. I know this because in 2014, I was at the same situation. I was performing. I was international project man. I was climbing the ladder, corporate leadership. And I moved on, and everybody said, "Oh, you're doing so great." But inside me, I feel disconnected, not because I was weak, but I was losing the truth. I didn't know it even. And then one afternoon, I was sitting in our garden under the apple tree. I just took some breaths and calmed down, and suddenly something shifts. It softened. And a whisper raised up. And in that moment, everything became so clear. I knew I wanted to go see my sons growing up, which due to my job, to my business, I couldn't do. And then everything changed. The first time after years, I felt like being home, clarity, being enough. This was such a strong feeling that from this moment, everything changed. And at that moment, I realized clarity is born in stillness. And when clarity rises, everything else aligns. But let's have a look. Why are we struggling so much? This is because we feel there's a friction. We feel that we're not aligned. We feel there's something different. Is this what I'm meant to be? You wake up in the middle of the night at 3:47 and ask, is this all? And then you try to do more, to achieve more, spending more hours, give more, because they think doing more is the solution. And most people do it the same. They start to fix their life from the bottom, which is completely wrong way, with hacks, seminars, new techniques, new strategies, but nothing works. You have experienced that. And months later, I was starting anew as organic farmer. And I wanted to learn how to do this. And I asked the first farmer, how do you do that? And he said, go this way. I said, okay, he succeeds. The other second said, go that way. And he succeeds as well. And I was wondering, why are they telling the complete opposite and both works? And then it hit me. Life is not complicated where you have manuals. Life is complex where you need alignment. It's like a mirror for my own life. You cannot put more effort into it. Like you want to have a plant going, you try to pull it up and go faster. It doesn't work. You need alignment. And this is where everything starts, when you get clarity. Clarity is where everything changes, where you know the truth. And the interesting thing is, when you have your own truth, what really matters to you, suddenly, when you're aligned to it, you know exactly what priorities have. You don't need to make a plan. You don't need to make a vision board, to meet a to-do list. That's not important anymore, because you suddenly know exactly what's important and what doesn't just falls away without a fight. And that's where everything comes so true, that with the clarity you get the priority. And then after you have the priorities clearly, it's easy to choose the action, because you just do a first tiny step, you finish it, then you do the next. It becomes simple. I don't tell you it's easy, but it's simple. We don't need to be in a hamster wheel running fast and faster and get a burnout. No, one tiny step at a time, then the next, then the next. That's how you succeed. You come unleash your life, what you're meant for. And nowadays, everything changes. We have the artificial intelligence, and everybody's scared and amazed. And at the same time, what is it about? Is it good? Is it bad? What is it? But it's easy if you think it from a complex perspective. AI can do everything better than you. It's faster, write more, produce more, and it's getting louder and more output. But there's one thing AI never can do. AI never can give you a truth, especially not your truth. And if AI just gets everything more and faster and more and faster, it's an infinite of content, an infinite of optimated processes, an infinite of everything. One thing AI cannot do. AI cannot give you clarity. And in this world, clarity is so valuable. It's the limiting resource. Because with AI, you can run fast and do everything better in the wrong direction. You need clarity first. When you have clarity, AI can be a tool, a multiplier. But who takes the moment to sit still in this crowded, fast world? So I give you a ritual where my clients say it's life-changing. So sit still for 10 minutes, no phone, no distraction, no call, just you and yourself. And Just listen to yourself, listen to your inside, because the truth is not shouting, truth is whispering. And then sit and listen. If a thought comes by, let it go. And then when a sentence forms, write it down. One sentence, not 10, one. And then ask it, what do I need to change? What's the one thing I need to change? And write it down as well. It's not 10 things, it's one thing. Then you suddenly get the truth. Where I was sitting there, I needed to change my life for 180 degrees. This was my truth. Maybe it's not yours, where everybody has one. But this is so valuable. It's 10 minutes in your life. Is your life worth 10 minutes? And then for those of you who think, there's something, but I cannot grab it clearly. I don't want to do this alone. I created a space exactly for that. It's a 30-minute free clarity call where I don't give you the plan. I don't give you something. I don't fix you because you don't need to be fixed. You know that already. It's just to continue that conversation already started. And then we continue to find your first step where you are aligned to, where you can thrive and live the life you're meant for. Because we are not meant to live a life that looks great and is warm, feels warm. We're meant to live a life that feels true. And if you're not there yet, take the time, sit there for 10 minutes. Still, no distraction. Listen to the whisper inside you. So bring this back home and feel it again, what you're feeling right now. Listen to your inside. What feeling are you feeling right now? And so let's bring it back to the question I was starting at the beginning. What truth are you pushing away just to function? And then let it rise gently without judgment, because it's just your truth. It's already inside you. It's buried under work, loads of work and to-do lists and everything. Listen, let it rise gently. And remember, clarity is born in stillness. And when you have it, everything else aligns.
Wow. Wow, Ivo. That was so powerful. So much to reflect on. And you've had some incredible responses in the chat. Really powerful things to think about. Clarity is born in stillness. It's incredible. How did that feel for you to present today?
Oh, it was such good feeling for me because, you know, this is something I discovered over years and I had to dig and go through the maze. And now I can bridge it for people that they don't have to feel this pain and spend this energy. So this is what I really want to bring to the world. And I'm glad I had the possibility today to do it.
Yeah, I think it just speaks to how the truth of life is so simple and yet we make it so complicated. And I think you really helped us to unpick that. So let's hear it for Ivo. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Okay, so next up we have a incredible transformational speaker who is going to share her journey, which has had elements of tragedy, but triumph over that tragedy. Daphne went from worrier to warrior in her life because when she was 10 years after high school, her father had an accident that left him blind. And Daphne was facing fear, grief, and uncertainty. You know, but what she didn't do, what a lot of people would do, is dwell on the negative. And instead, she figured out how she was going to change her future. She had 2 children starting school, and she then pursued a college degree, carried on working really long days and nights, and then just coming home every night to this challenging environment. But through all of this, she found a way to get courage, control, and confidence of her life, one step at a time, to build the incredible life that she has now, being a mentor and transformational speaker for everybody. So please welcome to the stage the incredible Daphne. Daphne, the stage is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Luke, for that wonderful introduction. Have you ever felt invisible by the people that know you best? And you feel like they see you every day, but they don't really see the real you, only the role that you play in their lives. I used to feel that way too. And when I grew up believing that you had to earn love, and I think it might have been some programming with the fairy tales that I used to watch. And one of my favorite movies was The Wizard of Oz. And I related so much to the Dorothy, her character, and how she wanted so desperately to be heard, and how she longed for a place where she would feel safe to be herself. Allow me to take you on a journey down my own yellow brick road, a place where I found courage, wisdom, and my heart's path. I'm going to share with you 3 defining moments that helped shape me, challenge me, and ultimately set me free. My journey didn't begin with a tornado like Dorothy. It began on a small town football field with my parents in New Jersey in 1976. I'm an 11-year-old girl, bundled up in warm clothes, topped off with a multicolored Afghan that my grandmother crocheted me. And I'm trying to blend in with all that. My father is handing me a cup of hot cocoa in a styrofoam cup with those stale marshmallows. And just as he's handing me the cup, the crowd erupts with angry outbursts. I turn and I look and I see all the angry faces. They were protesting about something on the football field. And then something else captures my attention, and I hear laughing and cheering, and it's the cheerleaders. They don't look cold. They're not bundled up. They're not hiding. They're laughing and cheering and having the time of their lives. It was in that moment that I started daydreaming about being a cheerleader. That next season, I rode my bike into town and I signed up for the cheerleading tryouts with no idea what I was doing, no plan, no practice, and I failed. And the girls that I looked up to, they laughed at me. And even though I was embarrassed, I downplayed the moment and I didn't even tell my parents about it. But I still held on to that dream of being a cheerleader. And by the time I started high school, that dream was reignited and I found my motivation. So I started writing down my goals and I used visualization to see myself on that field, wearing the uniform, cheering with confidence, surrounded by my friends. And by the time I was a senior in high school, I not only made the team, but I was captain of the varsity cheerleading squad. So that moment, that journey started with one imperfect step. So courage isn't about readiness. It's about willingness, because when you have the willingness, you'll find a way to be ready. I had no idea at the time that years later, that courage would become something much deeper, and not about becoming somebody special, but about overcoming something bigger than me. And fast forward 10 years, life is going according to plan. It's my daughter's 4th birthday, and I'm at the grocery store getting her cake. And when I return home, there's a message on the answering machine. Remember those days before cell phones? So the answering machine says that my father was in an accident and I needed to get to the hospital right away. In that moment, my body felt numb, but I made it to the hospital. I don't even know how I got there. And when I arrived, I met my cousin at the door and he brought me into a room. It was for family only. And I didn't even know that room existed before that day. And I learned at that time that my father was on a ladder 2 stories up fixing a gutter, and he lost his balance and he fell. He landed on his face. And the doctor came out and told us that they didn't think that he was going to survive the night. But they got him stabilized and they were getting ready to transport him to another hospital. And it was at that moment where I asked the doctor if I can see him. The doctor tried to warn me for what I was about to see and also told me that I needed to stay calm because they didn't want him to get upset or panicked. I promised that I would be calm. And I went in, and what I was about to see, nothing could have prepared me for seeing my father broken that way. He was unrecognizable, but I made a promise to not only the doctor, but to myself to be strong for a man that was always strong for me. He survived that day. And although we were grateful that he survived, he was left disfigured and blind because of it, because of the accident. I was filled with depression and grief. I was carrying the grief and the pain of myself, my family, and everyone else. And it was just so overwhelming. And I was spiraling down a depressive state. And something shifted in me because I didn't want to keep feeling this way. I needed to make a change. And I was at a crossroad where I needed to decide to choose depression or choose to find meaning in this event. So I decided to find meaning. And in that moment, I decided to enroll in college to become an occupational therapist because they help people to rebuild their lives after an injury or an illness. So here I am 10 years after high school, enrolled in college, and I'm feeling like I don't fit in again. And I'm surrounded by brilliant women. And then I decided if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. So I did. I sat in the front row and I took notes like my life depended on it, because in sitting in those classrooms, it was more than just getting a degree. It was finding my life's purpose. We don't get to choose the storms in our lives. We get to choose what we build afterward. And maybe you've had a moment in your life where everything changed. And there was a moment you had to ask yourself that you needed to rise above it. And after getting a degree, I worked for 23 years as an occupational therapist, helping families and their children with diagnoses. And along the way, I realized that I was more than just helping them rebuild, I was helping me to rebuild. And in my family, I'm known as the strong one, the healer, the helper. But then when it came to money, I felt completely lost. And even though I'm a professional, there was one place that I was avoiding. I was avoiding my finances. And for years, I believed that the things that you're told about, get a good job, get good grades, get a professional degree, and then everything's fine. You don't have to worry about money. But I was wrong. We had to worry. We were spending too much. We were in debt. And then I felt like I needed to change something. I felt like I was not on my path at all, like I was on a treadmill going nowhere. So one day, exhausted and overwhelmed, I asked for a sign from the universe. And then one day, I was buying supplies for the kids. I got my sign, and it was a book. It was a gold and yellow book that seemed to glow on the bookshelf. It was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And something about maybe it was Dad that drew me to that book. But I bought it and I read it from cover to cover. And that book lit a spark in my brain. And it helped me for the first time understand that if I wanted freedom, I had to learn the rules of financial literacy. That type of education is the type of education that most of us never get in school or from our parents. So I committed to learning how to build wealth slowly, steadily, in a systematic way, and not in a get-rich-quick way. So I applied what I learned. I learned how to pay off debt and invest intentionally, and grew my retirement account. And for the first time in my entire life, I wasn't waiting to be saved. I was saving myself. And for years, after years, I retired from my full-time job. And now I'm on a mission to help others learn how to discover financial freedom and their own financial power. And that's when I finally understood that financial freedom isn't only about money, it's about who you become in the process. So my final lesson was the most liberating. Is freedom begins the moment you stop giving away your power and choose to lead your own life. And not someday, not when somebody gives you permission, but right now. So when I look back, I see the path clearly. I see the young girl in the bleachers who had the courage to take that first imperfect step. The young woman in the hospital finding purpose through the pain. And the woman who learned to build financial freedom. And through it all, here's the truth. No one can hand you the power. You were born with it. And today, I want you to choose one courageous, imperfect step. Because every hero's journey begins with one single choice. And not the choice to be fearless, but the choice to take action. So I want you to remember this. You had the power all along. Thank you.
Wow. So beautiful, Daphne.
Thank you.
I could really feel those experiences as you were telling them about us. How did that feel for you?
It felt great. I'm glad I got through it without crying.
Yeah, and we could feel you're experiencing it, and I love your vulnerability and how authentically you shared that story. And I know everyone feels it. All the comments that you've got, you're going to enjoy reading those later. And I think what's beautiful about that is it reminds us that whatever happens to us in life, we get to choose the meaning we attach to it, and we get to choose the future we want to create. From your story of visualization to your story about what you want to do and taking action without fear or in spite of fear. Because as you said, courage is about willingness, not readiness. And I think we all took a piece of that away today, Daphne. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is coming all the way from the UAE, where his incredible company, Esme Entertainment Services, they are based in Dubai, but he is a German engineer, and the precision and the talent that he brings to the entertainment and conferencing industry is unparalleled. What you're going to hear today from Alex is how he creates the impossible to make sure that members have memorable experiences. He calls himself an engineer, but I call him an Imagineer, because he's creating experiences that transform through the power of magic, not just communication. So please help me in welcoming to the stage the incredible Alex. Take it away, Alex. The stage is yours, my friend.
Hi guys, thank you Luke for the introduction. Before we start, who here has ever struggled with the budget? Put a yes or a me in the chat. in private life and in professional life. We have all had the moment where the number in our head did not match the numbers on the invoice. And who here has ever dealt with last minute stress in event planning when timelines slip, design changes come in, or your favorite technicians and engineers, your A team is not available anymore because the competition was faster. And you are left with the people on the bench in the reserve unit, or the B players who are not booked in advance. So put a yes in the chat if you had that in the past experience. Doesn't matter if it's an event planning or even in your wedding or birthday planning. So, and honestly, I'm the perfect case study. While learning all about public speaking and trying to prepare for this keynote, I was putting out fires the last 4 weeks left, right, and center, because this is the busiest season for our industry in our region. And so yes, here I am talking about early planning while dealing with late planning in the background. And let me tell you one thing. 2 weeks ago, I had a client who paid 150,000 euros extra because they confirmed us too late. 3 weeks too late. Because earlier planning would have made us able to take our local resources to this event and avoid air freighting a lot of equipment in. So 3 weeks earlier, we could have put everything in a container, and it would have been just 10,000 euros instead of 150,000 euros for very expensive cargo freight. So this happened not because the event was complicated, but because some decision-making process took too long with our client and the end client, and we couldn't do anything anymore about it. So we had to air freight the equipment. We had to even fly in more freelancers, paid hotel rooms, etc., because this was really a last-minute job. We made it happen. The job is amazing. In 5 days, today is 2nd December, we have a show day. And this is just one of the events we did in the last few weeks where everything was last minute. So I believe you can relate to it if you work in events. That's my reality. Late internal approvals, changing guest numbers, then some venue owners popping up and want some new certificates I've never even heard of. Suppliers, our subcontractors saying, oh, sorry, now we are committed somewhere else. And your lighting designers are forced into using substitute equipment what was not actually in the show. Imagine Metallica, we did just a few days ago. If these lighting designers would have to deal with last-minute changes in the equipment, what would be the audience experience? So these mistakes would not happen on these A-list artists. So, but there are a lot of yes, you must suffer from high blood pressure. Yeah, I have a routine for this. I'm waking up very early and go every day to the gym to keep this under control. So yeah, let me put it this way. What frustrates me on that the most is how much more event we could deliver with the money they spend. Imagine another, let me take you back a few years. There was a National Day celebration for one of the GCC countries. And they also came way too late, and I put in an additional admin team. I pulled a lot of people out of vacation to call suppliers in 3 different continents and air freight companies to bring in a very specific lighting fixtures they needed for this show. And this costed at the end 200,000 euros to fly it in and directly fly it back because it was such a rare piece of equipment. And just this is the really frustration I have, knowing how much more show and experience the clients could have if they would spend this money on actually delivering the event, or just keep it in their pocket and do another event another day. So I would like to also explain to you what early planning can do. We at ESMA, we have warehouses in the region in 3 different countries. At the moment, I always joke that the highway is the biggest warehouse from us because we have so many trucks going between the locations. So this is the region. We are also part of the AV Alliance, and we can source locally in almost any country in the world. That means we only ship what is missing to deliver the show. We are more sustainable that way. It's more efficient. We deliver in-country value. Where are we going? And if something is still missing, we can rely on the local resources because we include them. If you come in a country, I had this experience before, where back in the days when I was a freelancer working for another AV company, we went into a country, invaded it, and then 2 speakers and 5 cables were missing, and none of the local industry wanted to involve us or support us or help us out. So we put another person in the airplane with a suitcase of the cables and overpaid the luggage to bring this 2 extra speakers. So this is all avoidable if you plan early enough. Late costs are like the last hotel room in a big city where you have every hotel room booked out because of a big event or exhibition. Or it's the last flight before Christmas is always more expensive. The room is not better. The seat in the airplane is not better. You just booked late. So what I also can say, early planning does not give you a discount. I cannot put it in numbers, how much you would save. What I can say with certainty is that you will never pay as much as you spend when you book late. If you involve your supply chain early, then it's definitely more cost efficient. Let me take you back in an indoor horse arena like 10 years ago. A client involved us very, very early. We put even a hot desk in their office and had a senior event planner from our side sitting with them and delivering all the drawings, technical calculations, load calculations for the roof. We did renderings, everything was amazing. I could book the right equipment. I reserved our best in-house team, and I had access to the best people from our freelance pool. Setup was amazingly smooth, and I could relax. And when I was sitting in the front of house, for people who are not from the event industry, this is where all the mixing and lighting control is. And I was sitting there, and the client came along with his brand new iPad back then and showed me a picture. I said, wow, that's an amazing pixel pitch from this camera. Nice picture. And he was laughing at me. He said, dude, that's not a photo. That's the renderings we did a few weeks ago. And I was like, wow, this looks almost identical. This is what this is when you book everything early and have enough time for planning. You actually get what you envisioned. And now, for everybody, doesn't matter in the event industry or not, I would like you to take a pen and write this down, because I give you a hack. What is most important from the entire talk. If you really want to avoid last-minute costs, if you want your A-team, if you want the right equipment on site, there's a super simple strategy. Involve your contractors, your client, your suppliers, or whatever it is, very early in the process. Lock them in. Doesn't matter if the final design or layout or BOQ is ready. Lock them in. Tell them on these dates, I have my wedding or my birthday. Please make sure you have time on that day. Here's a small amount of down payment. This will secure your place and will take 90% of all your stress out of the equation. This helps you to avoid costly traps at the end with air freights, expensive hotel bookings. Now when I say that, I had to pay now a very expensive hotel room already for Barcelona for an exhibition for next year, because a lot of people booked half a year ago already. So yeah, imagine what you can save if you book early. Remember that client who paid 150,000 euros extra at the beginning from my story? That didn't happen because it was a difficult event. It happened because the timeline didn't protect them. Nobody wants to have this last minute chaos, substitutes, burning money on late decisions. It's really burning money. When you engage your suppliers early, you protect your budget. You have the A-team on site you actually want. So let's stop losing money to late timelines and start creating events that look exactly like the vision you approved in the early stages. No surprises, no compromises.
Thank you, Alex. Absolutely fantastic. I can't believe there are so many things to think about. This feels like a big challenge, and it's no wonder people come to people like you to avoid paying all these ridiculous charges because they can't think through all these implications.
Yeah.
How did it feel to you to share this message for people?
Yeah, at the end, my feeling is now I am enraged again on clients spending money, paying ridiculous air freight prices. I would love to have this 150 or 200K extra in my pocket, delivering a better event for them, instead of paying some freight companies who are making anyway all full of money. So yeah, that's one side of the story, and to get it out to more than just a few people is actually really relieving. I need to do this more often.
Beautiful. Well, you are ready, my friend. You are ready. You know, something you reminded me of, something my wife says to me all of the time is poor planning on your part should not mean panic for me. And so I think this is what you shared with people that are investing ridiculous sums of money, and so much of it frittered away, and they don't get the result that they want. You know, the vision that they want to deliver is not coming. So it's incredible. I even made myself up a little note based on what you said, which is spend up front, avoid the last minute hunt. And I think that's what you guys do beautifully. So thank you so much for sharing that, Alex. I think more people need to hear this message.
Thank you.
Great job, brother. Great job. Okay, so now we come to our final speaker. And you know, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And earlier on, we had some technical challenges, and I love technology and technology loves me. We all love technology here in the Public Speaking Academy, but we're always ready to be adaptive, to be flexible. And our next speaker is no stranger to this, because Laverne is someone who realizes that, you know, your health is your wealth. And she shares with those who are in their later stages in life, what we like to call the boomers, to help them to bloom again. Because when you've spent your life working hard and you got to that point where now it's time to enjoy life, sometimes we might have a good lifespan, but maybe we don't have such a good health span, because the quality of your life is directly proportionate to the quality of your health. You want a long health boomers and bloomers, help boomers, those in their later years, to enjoy those later years by reclaiming their vitality through food and lifestyle. And she's going to tell us all about how to do that and how to reclaim your vitality. So please let me welcome to the stage the incredible Laverne. Take it away, Laverne. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you for that great introduction. What if everything you've been told about healing is only half the truth? Before we go any further, I would like you to join me in an experience. Would you mind closing your eyes? Imagine being underwater. You can't breathe. Your chest locks. Your lungs tighten. Your heart turns into a drum. Boop, boop, boop. And every sound feels like your last. You may open your eyes. That was my childhood. That was asthma. That was fear. You may not know asthma, but you know fear. You know pain. You know when your body is whispering, something isn't right. According to the American Heart Association, more than 80% of people over 60 are living with cardiovascular disease, even when following the rules they were given. We've all had a moment that shook us, a diagnosis, a flare-up, a scare, a moment that stopped us in our tracks. And that moment became the heartbeat of my work. I work with boomers to unlock natural healing through whole foods, movement, and mindfulness so they can enter their next chapter of life energized, empowered, and thriving. Let me show you 3 ways where healing actually begins. Number 1, whole, colorful foods. I've watched many people transform their lives just by adding color back to their plate. One of my clients came to me frustrated, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Within weeks of focusing on real, colorful foods, not dieting, not restriction, she felt lighter, clearer, and more alive. And then there's sugar. I'll be honest with you. I was a sugar addict. I had a terrible sweet tooth. Anyone in here knows what I'm talking about? Thank you. I used to put 5 to 6 packets of sugar in 1 cup of tea. No judgment. When I started reading labels, I realized something shocking. Sugar was my biggest trigger. Not dairy, not pollen, but sugar. And so I removed it slowly, ever so slowly, from my diet. And guess what? It's been over 20 years since I've used sugar in my tea and became asthma-free. Sweet freedom. I can now breathe freely. I like to say, I gave up the ghost, and the ghost gave up me. Let me teach you something simple you'll never forget. 4 grams of sugar is equal to 1 teaspoon of sugar. When you read food labels, there are total sugars and added sugars. The added sugar is what causes inflammation. And this inflammation is the spark behind chronic conditions like arthritis, diabetes, and heart disease. Food is the foundation, but it's not the whole story. Number 2, movement. Movement is not a workout. It's an identity shift. Walking, stretching, breathing instead of collapsing at the end of the day. Movement is medicine. Your body remembers every step you take on its behalf. Number 3, this is where the magic happens. Because nutrition and movement can only take you so far when your nervous system is still operating in fight or flight mode. When you combine all 3, that's when the real healing begins. When food nourishes your cells, movement energizes your body, and mindfulness grounds your spirit. And if you feel something shifting in you right now, that's your sign. You don't have to fight this alone. I want to personally invite you to take the next step. Join me for a 30-minute discovery call where we talk about your goals, your habits, your challenges, and what's possible for you. And when you book that call, you'll automatically be enrolled in my free 3-day Kickstart Challenge, where you'll experience these pathways in real life. Simple, doable, and personalized. This is the beginning of your next chapter. The story you've been told about eating ends today. A new one starts with you. You deserve a future where your body supports your dreams. Let's begin writing that story today. I can be reached at yourturningpointinwellness.com or yourturningpointinwellness@gmail.com. And if you remember nothing I've said here, please remember this. You can pay the farmer or pay Big Pharma, but only one of those will give you your life back. Thank you.
Wow, that was so amazing, Laverne. I got to say, I don't know about anyone else, but when you were talking about that closed eye exercise, I felt so much panic in my body, like if I couldn't breathe. So I think we all got to feel how you felt going through our experience.
Yes.
And how was this experience for you today, sharing this such an important message?
This was wonderful. It's something that as you can tell, I'm very passionate about. And the universe has challenged me in the beginning because, as you know, I had no internet for a while, but I'm persistent. And as persistent I am to get this message out today is how persistent I am to share it with my boomers. So thank you.
Beautiful. And as they say, you know, Laverne, a healthy man has a million dreams and an unhealthy man has only one.
Absolutely. Yes, you are so right.
So
So I always believe that if you don't take care of your health today, your health won't be here for you tomorrow.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
What a place to leave it. Thank you so much, Laverne. Okay, guys, that was phenomenal. And I just want to give all of us the opportunity to light up the chat and just give an amazing thank you to all of our 7 incredible speakers today who have taken us on a journey, and they've helped each one of us to take away, maybe it's one lesson, maybe it's one insight. In fact, put into the chat for me right now, what is one lesson or insight that you took away today? And what's something that you are going to take action on? Because every single one of our speakers today has planted seeds of insight, seeds of transformation, seeds of knowledge, seeds of their experience. And every single one of us gets the chance to go and plant those seeds all around the world in our lives with the people that we know. And when we plant those seeds together, this community can start the growth of trees that will in the future shade others. And we might not sit under the shade of those trees, but we know that we've planted the seeds by sharing the message of every single one of these incredible speakers. Let's give them another round of applause, guys. Didn't they do an amazing job? And I just want to thank all of you for playing full out and taking away their insight and sharing with them what a great job that they did. Now, I hope that you had a great experience. And any of you that have been watching today, if you feel that any or all of our speakers could have an impact or share an insight or change the lives of somebody that you know, please feel free to share this recording. You'll get the recording of it sent to you, and please feel free to share it, because we need more people to know that there is a way to get your message out there, just like our 7 brave souls have done today. And how would it feel for you or for somebody who you love to hear their message of transformation and let them reach out to hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of people in pain where you or they have the solution? And if that's something that inspires you, then we would love to welcome you to the Public Speaking Academy. And maybe you or one of your loved ones could be on this digital stage right here. And before we go, because what we're going to do right now, all of us in the Public Speaking Academy, we're going to go and have a party. That's right. We're going to be celebrating every single one of these transformational journeys. And we're going to be sharing everything we learned with them. So whilst we go and do that, I want you guys to remember one thing. And that is that I'm okay. These guys are okay. But you're amazing.
One day, we'll be looking back on this and we'll say, aren't you happy that we did it our way? Everyone we knew was saying no way, but we were never listening anyway. So don't be just standing in the doorway. Don't you know we gotta hit the highway? Darling, this is gonna be a good day. And I've gotta say that I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, I'll be looking back on this and I'll say, I'm so happy that you said you would stay. There were times I know that I was crazy, fraying at the edges and you saved me. I'm losing count of chances that you gave me. You're laughing at me dancing really badly and telling me the reasons why you'd gladly do it all again. Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Well, hey, words can never adequately convey everything you're giving to me today. But holding you is better than a holiday, and leaving you I dread it like exam day. So at the risk of sounding kinda risque, everything to now has been the foreplay. Darling, I would follow you to Norway or anywhere you want it. Cause I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. Oh, I'm not bad myself, but you're amazing. You're amazing. One day, when we're getting wrinkly and our hair's grey, a rusty old banger in the driveway, one of us will maybe wear a toupee, but I will be in love with you